we have to introduce you to another concept that is equally as important as functions. It's called opposite operations. Opposite operation basically means that you reverse whatever you did first. For example, if you did 1 plus 1 equals 2, since the opposite of adding is subtracting, you do 2 subtracted by 1 equals to 1. This is very easy, isn't it? But now the people who made math think it's too easy, and now they're going to make your life miserable. So you don't want to be sad, don't you? Let's learn what those things mean so that you won't be sad. The first thing you should know is additive inverse. Additive inverse means that two numbers add up to 0. The additive inverse for 56 is, for example, negative 56. And the additive inverse for negative 50 for negative 88 is 88, since they add up to 0. There is another term called reciprocal. Sounds hard, doesn't it? It's very easy. Well, it's just a fancy way of saying multiplicative inverse. Same thing, just makes your life harder by saying it in a different way. The easy way to do this would be to flip the numerator and the denominator. But does 8,888 have a denominator? Of course it does! Well, since it adds up to 8,888, it's very logical to put 1 as a denominator so that it'll still be 8,888, but now it's a fraction. Next, we flip the numerator and the denominator. The result will become 1 over 8,888. Simple, isn't it? Yeah, there are much more to this. Let's start with something new. Now we have to think of an important concept. I'm sure you all heard of squares and square root, don't you? If not, then something squared is something multiplied by itself. For example, 2 squared is the same as 2 times 2. And something cubed means something multiplied by itself twice. So 2 cubed would be 2 times 2 times 2. Now we have to think of something important. It can be said that the power, which is the second power, the third power, which is the same thing as squared and cubed, can be repeated with any single kind of number. Meaning you can have 2 to the 4,000th power. It exists. Now, so you can put anything in, which can be substituted by the imaginary number n, 3 to the n power. Now, this 3 to the nth power will make your life easier, and it will make your life harder. Math makers have taken account of that. Now they want to make your life miserable. So they've made something called the opposite operation of taking something's power. For example, 2 to the second power. They made something that's the opposite of this. Sounds very confusing, doesn't it? Well, the easy way to say that is 2 to the second power, as you know, is 2 times 2, which is 4. Now 4 Well, 4, you can take the square root of it. It's anything, for example, 5, the 5th root. People write that simply as root 5 root whatever. Now this 5 root whatever is the key to this. 2 times 2, as you know, already equals 4. Then 4, then since it's only square root, you don't have to put anything other than this mark, 4. This means that the root of 4, as you know, the root of 4, since 2 times 2 equals 4, 4 must be multiplied, must be something, doesn't it? The root of 4 is the opposite of doing the second power. It is basically where you find what multiplied by itself had caused this number. There are many roots. It's not just like 4 squared is 16. So root 16 would be 4. But you can make it more too. For example, 4 cubed. Let's say 4 cubed. It's 4 times 4 times 4, which is equivalent to 64. Now, since we know it's 64, we can do the cube root of 64, which, as we did just now, equals to 4. Now it all comes apart. So there are 6 basic kinds: adding and subtraction, and adding, multiplying and dividing and multiplying, taking the nth power to taking the nth root and taking the n root to taking the n power. Now it all comes apart. Goodbye.